Oh, bloody hell, I thought the intro was going to play. Well, I guess I'll have to add that one in.
Yeah.
Hello, and welcome back to the FNtasia podcast, episode 51. And we have a big episode, a lot to talk about. We obviously have the Pro-Am coming up this weekend. We have the new season of Fortnite that just released that we've all been enjoying. Maybe we'll get there. But we decided to get you guys involved in the show a bit. So we actually have hot takes. So we're going to be discussing hot takes from you, the community of FNtasia. Hot takes to do with the Pro-Am this weekend, some of the players at the Pro-Am, and the new season as well. So it'll be sort of split into those three parts. We got the big dog, Reese Hub, Teddy, Coach Harry in the building. We're going to be reacting to your hot takes. We're going to be roasting your hot takes and everything in between or on the outside. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Yes, sir. Let's rock and roll.
Let's get right into it. The first one we have comes from Ollie C. Brown. Why is it covering you guys? It shouldn't be doing that.
I'll just stand. I'll just
look over, guys.
It'll help
look
my
over.
posture. I'll look over it.
Shouldn't.
Hey.
There you go. Ollie C. Brown says they should have made the Pro-Am zero build instead of builds, would have made it less top-heavy skill-wise and adds a bit more RNG than builds, which, to be honest, makes it more entertaining for the cap.
I think we can all agree this would not be more entertaining at all. There would be zero in growth of entertainment in this. So making it less top-heavy and skill-wise, I don't think that makes it more interesting at all. And I mean, we especially in a reload mode where you're just flying out the sky, landing, and you have like nowhere you can go if it's later in the zone, you're just guaranteed dead. Whereas they have made a few changes to the reload mode to make sure you can actually survive further as you get down. So in build mode. So let's be real, high level zero build competitive reload doesn't go together that well. If it's less top skill heavy, does that even matter? Like, does that actually make it more entertaining to watch if it's just more RNG? Like, it's not more chaotic. It's just more people sitting in bushes and shooting people with guns. You know, there's way less entertainment.
I'm gonna pile on. What's the point of the event in the first place? It's to showcase Fortnite competitive and to use the creators' audiences to celebrate and showcase Fortnite competitive. Fortnite competitive is a build mode. If you're just going to nerf the skill of the pros that you're trying to make a bigger name for, like why even have the event in the first place, in my opinion? So, yeah, I don't agree.
Valid.
With this.
Agreed. I'm going to pile on top of the pylon. Basically, the pros win zero build tournaments anyway. We figured this out when we had zero build for so long. They're just the best players still just won zero build. Nothing changed. It won't really make the competition that much closer together. It generally, I just don't think it really changed the outcome. There will just be teams who are just still shit in zero build, and it won't make it any closer. Maybe more RNG, but it won't. If anything, it'll make it more spread out because there'll be the teams who have actually practiced zero build who will just dominate the tournament and actually make it less interesting to watch anyway. So I don't know. I think zero build, we've had its run. We had 2 years of it. Don't think we need any more of it. I think it's in the bin.
You know, I was thinking, I was like, as you were talking there, fully 100% agree. And I was sitting thinking, like, what is the most entertaining Fortnite tournaments we've ever seen? And you know, ones that are full of RNG and bullshit, typically not them, you know?
Yeah.
The ones where there's skill, and even if it's like relatively even skill between players who are not the best, right? Like balancing the teams would actually probably be a better argument than just saying, hey, let's go to zero build, right? For this specific, if you want to have it less RNG and you have it like more balanced that way. But the most entertaining tournaments are always the ones where it's a close battle to the end. You know, you have some good plays that are memorable. You know, like what good memorable plays are you going to have from a zero build tournament outside of like a teaming in the solo cash cup or a PlayStation Cup or that one clip that Levin had to commentate with the guys with the shields just shooting each other. It's like the memorable moments are just not there to make it that interesting. So all of the things that would be entertaining, are pretty much stripped and removed from that entirely. So yeah.
Wait, Reese, can I get something straight?
Yes.
You don't think 2023 Gamers 8 was the greatest Fortnite tournament of all time?
I mean, look, if you're going to list them, it is definitely top 3, but it comes up so consciously in my memory all of the time, and it's such a analytical moment and landmark in our history. No, it just was not. It was not. It was fun. It was a fun tournament to watch, but it was like nowhere near as fun to watch as literally any other good LAN. You know,
It's fun to watch. Is interesting because that meta was also just the one where like the end games were everybody rifting into the sky and one team like on a bunker like shooting them out, or on a portal fort shooting them out. I don't know.
shockwaves. There was cars.
Yeah, it was a bit.
I was
it was
the
a
car
bit of a-
method, yeah.
It was a meta and a half, we'll say that.
Yeah.
All right, then. I'm not going to add to the pylon, but I genuinely agree with the takes you guys gave them. On to the next one. We have Rivers. I did not hear a word you said, Teddy. You lagged the hell out. So I did not hear you. It's all good. It's all good.
For the take. Thank you for the take, Ollie.
Oh, of course. Thank you, everyone. If you're in here, thank you for the take, of course. Rivers said, the Pro-Am should have been a squads event and would be much more interesting that way. See some head nods.
I don't disagree. I don't agree, but I don't agree. I think if it was like 1 pro, 3 creators, obviously it'd be hard to like get the big pros, like as many good names or something, and the teams would probably be strangely balanced. I could see that working really well. If it was 2 pros, 2 creators could also probably work, actually, now that I think about it. I'm not against this idea. I don't hate it. I'll be honest.
I agree. I don't hate it at all. I think the only problem you have is like the certain teams with language barriers. You know, the Japanese teams, the Brazilian teams. It's a little bit harder in those cases. But overall, I think it wouldn't be that bad at all. I don't know if it would add much more than duos because I think we've got a nice mix of teams already. I don't know if removing some of them or merging them together would create much more. Maybe there would be slightly more content, but I don't know if it would make it that much better of a tournament. But it wouldn't be bad if they had turned around and said this is going to be a squad tournament. I don't think anyone would have really complained that much at all.
I think for the simplicity of like the pairing people together, like I think it would have maybe been a bit messy. Like it does feel like they were reaching a bit with like the creators in some ways. Like it's not like Fortnite has a bunch of amazing creators, but it does feel like they were like for them to get even more creators and even more pros who are like that interesting that we'd want to see on like a Pro-Am level stage. I feel like it'd be hard. I feel like the simplicity of just having like one cool pro that we all know and one like creator we all know and just like pairing them together is just nice and clean. But I don't disagree that squads could have been more fun. But
I mean, it's the same amount of people though, right? And like
exactly.
if it was still reload, it was still the same total numbers as you're teaming them up differently.
Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying. I'm saying just the actual teams, like the actual like
composition,
like the compositions of the teams is just like cleaner now than if you are trying to get 4 people to make one cohesive team.
But what they should do, right, is they should up the amount of. Here's the idea, right? One team per region. There you go. 1 squad per region. So you've got, maybe you add a team to. No, 24. Maybe not. Or just regional teams. Yeah. There you go. So you've got like an Asia team, you've got an OCE team, you've got an EU team, you've got an NA Central, NA West. Maybe you just have 2.
This is already sounding like something.
This is not a cook. This is not.
No. As I started to say that, I got less enthusiastic about it along the way.
Clicks and Peterbot don't make the NA team. And then,
just ignore that analytical point. Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think duos is just simpler.
Yeah.
And there's maybe more probability of like a crazy Peterbot cold solo clutch. That becomes the defining moment of the tournament. Like the good players can impose their wills a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm just thinking the crazy solo clutch is going to be Peterbot killing Nick A30 and Ali A in Endgame. It's going to bring it back a bit away from the crazy solo clutch.
That was funny. It's even funny you think Ali is making Endgame. All right, so next one. We got OFS Owarma, who said this Pro-Am is going to be so bad. No fair teams. I've seen a lot of talk about like the imbalancing of teams or whether like it's going to be fair. What do you guys think? Do you think the teams are fair enough for it to still be a fun event that we'll enjoy?
They're fair.
Well, we say they're fair enough. Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, I was going to quickly say that I think it's fair enough at the point where there's like 5 or 6 teams who I think are just at the top, and then there's like a bit of a gap, and then there's 5 or 6 teams who will be a bit lower than that, and then there's just the rest. But there is still going to be close competition towards the top. Maybe it's not fair between all 20 teams. I think that's quite impossible because the difference in skill between pros and difference in skill between content creators, and then also having the best pairings for content, I think it's an impossible task because you miss out on something if you go full competitive, like make everything even. Well, then first of all, you've got to rank the pros and rank the content creators, and then second of all, you're just gonna have weird pairings that don't really work, and kind of the content isn't there. But I think the way they've done it now is it will be a good enough competition where there will be some form of like competition towards the top. I think it will be close enough.
Yeah, look at like an FNCS Grand Finals, look at Global Championships, look at any big tournament that's fun to watch. Every team isn't able to win. Let's be real. Every team in that lobby doesn't have a fighting chance of beating Peterbot if they're on NA. But there's still teams who are in the run who make it interesting and good to watch. There's other teams who are in there who are just good for content. Now, the good for content teams in this example are really good for content. They will be funny. They'll be entertaining to watch. So at the top, say there's 4 teams who are going to fight for first. Maybe one team just does run away with it, right? But if there's 4 teams who are fighting for first, that'll be interesting to watch. And everyone else who's struggling and having fun and memeing, that will also be good entertainment too. And I think we need to think about this tournament as like, just because it's not the most competitive event possible, that doesn't mean it's not entertaining and fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the most competitive to be enjoyable.
I agree. I don't think the correlation between competitive to enjoyable is like just a direct sort of like straight parallel line.
It's what you make of it. Which as we come to this season later, I know we've got some hot takes about the season. I'll maybe parrot and say the same thing again.
Yeah, I would just say I don't think competition is the number one priority of this tournament. I think it's entertainment and marketing are the number 1 and 2 priorities, and then whatever you get out of the competitive end of it is like such a sweet bonus. I think it's going to be a great event, but yeah, I think it's in entertainment and kind of marketing for the game.
Okay,
yeah,
that's fair. Our next one, we have the content player mechs on Pro-Am doesn't matter. Unless they are a borderline pro, they will basically be useless. The only thing that matters is how the pro will lead the creator. And this one did get cut off a bit, and some of them will be a bit cut off, so I'll read the rest of what he said. So he basically said, the only thing that matters will be how the pro will lead the creator, the creator's ability to follow, and the pro's skill to solo clutch. What do we think of this take?
It's a pretty valid take. I don't think it's 100% accurate, but it's pretty valid. Like if you were going to look at, I would love to slash stats. I'm gonna, once this is over, you got to slash stats all the teams and see like who's contributing what. But I would definitely say like the pro in most cases would probably be in the winning teams or the top teams would be like 80-70% of the value of the team, and then the content creator's main job is not to milk. Like that's what I think it is. Obviously, there'll be some content creators who are much more valuable than others in that instance, and being able to put them in good positions, make them not milk, lead them, IGL them, allow them just to shoot. Basically, like if you can do that, then you're going to do so much better as a pro. Like if you're a Peterbot, you can create a target for Aussie, and he can just stay alive. He can shoot people. He can give you some mats. Like they have a great chance of doing well. Same with other teams that are really good. Obviously, like I said, some the content creators are much better at that, but you shouldn't be relying on them to do their mechs whatsoever. You should be relying on them to, follow the pro and not die.
Yeah, I mean, some content creators can be bigger sandbags than others. That's just the way it is. This tournament isn't going to be. This isn't going to showcase what content creator is the best. Is if there's a 2v2 fight, is which content creator can die the quickest will lose. It's not down to who's actually like the better fighter. You're not expecting your content creator to shit on someone. I don't think any pros expecting that. There are some content creators here who are very good players. Like they're surprisingly, when you actually look at like how recently they've competed or what they've done when they've recently competed, there are some good content creators here. But yeah, I totally agree. This tournament is down to who is the best leader and I know from being a shit player when I play with a pro player, my job is not to do anything useful. My job is to just not die, drop mats, and just stay alive. Because if you're a duo in endgame in this tournament, you will just clean up all the players who are solo clutching.
Yeah.
This is 99% true. And that's why in the few occasions where a content creator takes out a pro, it's going to be really epic. There was a Pro-Am, a Twitch Rivals a few years ago when Nick Mark's team took Clix's team at Tilted. and it had like perfect OG Fortnite vibes. They were dancing on clicks IRL, and it was by far the best moment from that tournament. So like when Nick 30 takes out Peterbot and goes crazy, that'll probably be one of the lasting moments of the tournament.
If that happens.
But that's why this is so good. This is true because it's all the pros are all the content creators are huge underdogs. So when they do something great, it'll be like super, super emphasized.
So as you said that, so it's funny because you're having the same kind of flashback I have. As I read this comment, I had a question in my mind which I want to pose to you three quickly. Not to spend lots of time on which content creators can have the best moment.
It's just the storyline feels like it's building up for it to just be courage. Like the marketing push and the promote, like do you know what I mean? Like
the propaganda.
He will make it a moment through like his reaction and like them hopefully cutting to his cam, and like making a thing of it. So I'm gonna say courage.
I'm rooting courage. Yeah.
I want courage to. I think because I don't know if you all know. Obviously, Faxty's now playing in it. He's replaced Amar because Amar couldn't get a visa. So I think is leading up to Faxty killing Peterbot and everything after playing together.
That would be pretty sick. Yeah.
I think Faxty will have the moment. He'll kill Peterbot or Cold or one of them, and he'll have his moment for sure.
That'll be sick. I can't lie. That'll be really sick. All right, cool. Nah, I mean. Yeah, facts. It would be a good one. I hope they really do lean into just having comms. Like, I don't want to hear the commentators.
No,
like, I love you guys. Like, I love you guys, but I don't want to hear you lot. I want to hear the creators like going crazy. That's all.
70% of the time, that's what I want to hear.
Yeah. Like
maybe more.
In like end games, give me a bit of commentator hype. You know, just but then like the rest of the game, like just give me the creators. Fucking
just get the beep guy ready, and that's fine. Just let it run.
It's let's fuck the beeps. Let's just have it all. Let's let it for one time.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We'll go on to the next one. We have I'm the Infamous who says, I don't know if this is a hot take. Maybe it's lukewarm, but the Pro-Am doesn't feel like the Pro-Am anymore. I don't like the fact that they choose creators instead of celebrities. I think he added more to this. Yes, he did. He said, I miss the days when we'd see legitimate celebrities like Marshmello, Paul George, and many others.
I don't miss that one bit. I think that added almost no value to the actual game itself. Because it's like, it gets with the previous comment where someone was like, oh, the teams who are going to win are so unbalanced. It's not going to be fun to watch. I actually think when you play with celebrities, it genuinely does be not fun to watch because they are so bad. Like they're so unbelievably bad. And then it's like one celebrity actually plays a little bit of Fortnite and he's like infinitely worse than any one of us, especially Harry. And all of a sudden he's just like the best player there. And then they win. And it's like, yeah, he was the least awful of the players. And then it was like way unbalanced teams, So I think in this instance, taking creators makes way more sense because there are people who like the Fortnite audience actually want to watch those creators play with pros as well. Like I don't care if Madonna's playing with Peterbot, mate. Like let's be real at this moment.
That would be fun to watch.
I'd rather see Aussie. Yeah.
You know what?
Aussie.
I can't really say. I feel like I somewhat disagree with you, but what you're saying makes sense, and I do agree because there were times where at the old Pro-Ams, like it just felt bad because you like the cases where you'd have the celebrities who clearly have never touched Fortnite before. Those ones always felt pretty bad because it's just like, okay, now they're just irrelevant in the tournament. But like there's like Fortnite's the biggest game in the world, and it has been for a long time. There's a lot of like genuine celebrities who would bring that kind of star power, who are good at and like play Fortnite. Like, let's go fucking get like Harry Kane or something. Like let's go get like there's like do you know what I mean? Like there's like athletes who stream Fortnite and stuff like that. I do think there's an element of the Pro-Am that is missing what the old Pro-Ams have in having that like superstar power. That is missed for me just because like again the Pro-Am isn't supposed to be this like super competitive tournament anyway, so like I don't care in some cases that like it's maybe a bit more imbalanced, but I do think it's cool if like fucking we have like just Shaquille O'Neal playing Fortnite or something like that would be
using his
pretty
own skin,
cool. So I don't know, like I agree with you. Like I don't think it's that bad having creators, because I think it's cool to celebrate some of these creators. It gives them an opportunity to shine. Some of them are just great for the content and still bring a bit of that like star power anyway. But I do miss having like just the random celebrities who you find out are actually big Fortnite fans and are then like, you know, pretty cool. I miss that a bit.
Yeah, you could
I don't know.
sprinkle them in. I think that would be really good. As selectively, but I like if it was filled with a bunch of celebrities who never played, then I'm just like,
Right.
This is where you do trios. You have the comp player, you have the content creator, and you have the celebrity all on one trio.
That might be
Now
a
you
good
cook.
Here we go.
Now you cook.
Because if we
wow.
were doing duos and it was one pro and one celebrity, I think we'd actually have to do zero build. Because I was thinking about what you were talking. I'm like, it's so bad. Like how you're talking about the pro back in the day, right? And if you look at the pro back in the day, that is, I don't even know what that skill level is now of like the pros back then. It was so low.
Right.
And now you think the pros now, if you put a player who barely plays the game and Peterbot in the same lobby, it's not he's playing one versus 99 bots. Like it's just not even worth him playing, right? So I think you would have to do zero build or maybe like trios or something like that. But because at the start, I agreed with the take. I was like, it does kind of miss a little bit of that. But when you started talking, Reese, it's like, it just wouldn't be enjoyable to watch with the celebrities. They'd have to do like a different way about it. But I wonder how does anyone know how the tickets have sold for the Prime? Is it sold out? Is it close to sell out? Or
I don't know, but if I did know, I wouldn't be able to say.
Okay.
We'll see when the camera pans.
We'll find out.
Yeah, okay. Because I'd be interested to know like how many like Fortnite fans are going because of their favorite content creator, because it's one of those things that's when, you know, we go to global championships and there's empty seats. So like, is it because the kids actually just prefer if like Cypher PK's there or whatever? I know they did meet and greets and stuff like that, but I wonder how much that makes an impact for this tournament.
A lot of the pro promotion is around meet and greets for the creators, as well at this. So that's a good point.
I would also say, if you see at globals, just as a sidetrack there, as the camera pans, as soon as there's a miss between a game, as the game's over, everyone leaves the studio. Yeah. Like when I was there in 2023, like everyone goes around and they wander around looking for creators and stuff. Like everyone is out of their seat between every game. It actually made me realize, I was like, man, no one cares about this analyst desk. I was like, Levin's cooking up some great shit right here, and no one cares because everyone's just leaving. So like as the cameras are panning around between games, a lot of the seats are empty because the people are just walking around outside. And then when the game starts, they fill up again. So it's like cyclical like that. So even like some of the global champions look a little bit more empty than they actually are.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's like, I don't know. I do think there's an element of like, I think what Reese said in the end is like of sprinkling it in is good, because not everybody is in any Fortnite tournament ever is getting like constantly featured. So like even if you did just have a couple like random celebrities who maybe are just stinking out because they're bad, like it wouldn't really matter to the overall flow of the tournament, because there's going to be someone holding that role anyway. Like some of the creators in this program are going to be playing that role of like, we just probably never see them, they just stink the whole tournament and we move on, right? So would it be cooler to have one of them there or to have Madonna? Like, I
don't know why Madonna is now the one.
I don't care about Madonna, but let's say fucking like Travis Scott. I don't know, right? It's just someone random that the kids like. Would it be cooler to have them there or like Travis Scott? And I'm gonna say Travis Scott. So I think sprinkling it in would be nice. I think that'd be like a nice balance. So like I think back to there was like a chess tournament recently. I don't know if you guys saw how much you pay attention to chess, and like I just remember seeing on the announcement for the chess tournament, it was like a bunch of like creators and different people, and then there was like Eberechi Eze, who's like a football player who, again, a lot of people listening might not have a clue I'm talking about, might not care, but it was cool seeing him be part of the tournament because it's just so random. Like I really like that in like the old programs where like there'd be someone who you're like, that's bloody random. Like, what are you doing at a Fortnite program? You know, like I think that's like a cool thing to have in these events.
So I went back and forth with all your arguments. I went back and forth. I think that real celebrities, no offense, some of the street creators are real celebrities. Real celebrities is better for headlines, and maybe there's some like insane moment when Peterbot takes out Luka Doncic or something, and then they're like, "You're the Luka Doncic of Fortnite," and he's like, "Luka Doncic is the Peterbot of the NBA," right? There's like some crazy moment like that. I do think the skill gap is really high. I think most of the creators, just because I'm truly am a really bad player in Fortnite, most of the creators are like top 1 percentile of Fortnite players, and then the pros are top 0.1 percentile of Fortnite players, and anyone in the 99% outside of it is gonna get absolutely cooked in that lobby, right? They won't even know what's going on. They'll just be dead.
Yeah.
And if anyone thinks that's also not true, that those content creators are in the top 1% of players, I remember saying to an Epic employee at one point, I'm your average competitive player, just because I felt like that. And he was just like, shut up, man. No, you don't have a clue what the average, average would be 50% in a tournament, right? Like, that's getting a couple points. That's, that's maybe 10, 20 points. There's so many people who stink it up and don't play. So, yeah.
I mean, like, I don't mean this in a weird way, because we could like meme this for even longer, but like, if we like all hop in like a random pub match, like there's a good chance we just stomp through it with ease, right? And we're not good, but it's like there's just so many people who are just not good at Fortnite, but still play every day, and that's cool.
I mean,
great for them.
I mean, we played. What did we play? We played
like zero build ranks yesterday, and we were just like
I felt
rolling through people.
Felt like we were Peter bot and like silver and gold. It was like we actually felt like we're absolute Peter bot. But then you go into like ranked elite or whatever, and it's like we're just getting shit on. The difference is massive.
The skill disparity is just insane in Fortnite.
What made you jump into zero build ranked?
Because yes, that, but we were theorizing that in a lot of the seasons that are just bad, or like not bad, but in a lot of the seasons where we're just like, what is this? Zero build is always just more fun. Like, we figured it out in like the car season, right? With like Nitro and all that, like where it was just miserable with fists and everything. We figured out like, wait, zero build is incredibly fun. And so we were trying to apply that like same logic here. The jetpack season we had towards the end of last year, I forgot that meta, like with the major zero build was fun in that, because you just fly around in a jetpack and shit. So I was just like, wait, maybe this season is a cook in zero build. Okay, on to our next take. We had Focake, who said the pro-am prize pool is too high. Any money made should go to charity, like previous pro-ams. That was interesting, because a lot of the money for these types of events used to go to charities, right? But that's not the case this time.
I think they're two completely separate points. The first one, the prize pool is too high. At the end of the day, like, it's just kind of a way that if you get, like, say, for example, 7.5k each for last place, I'm pretty sure it is. It just means that content creators can do like memes and do like random things. It doesn't matter. They're still getting they're not like losing out on loads of money. Like, for example, the grand finals, if they come last, they're not getting zero, so they can at least like meme around, have some fun, and it's not too stressful.
It's like an appearance.
The second part, what are you gonna say, sorry?
And it's like an appearance fee, the fact that it's like spread
out
across.
Basically. It basically is. And then any money should go to charity. I kind of agree. I was a bit confused when it's just like, you see like some of these some of the players and content creators just like, I don't know, I feel like it would be much cooler if it was and I guess Epic would do a higher prize pool as well if it was to go to charity, I feel like. So I don't know, it does feel a bit, I don't know.
I felt the same way, Harry, and I don't want to sound, I think I can maybe speak to some more of the reasoning, but I do agree with you. Like, I feel like in not just Fortnite, this isn't even just a Fortnite thing. I feel like events like this, where you are involving celebrities or creators, whatever you want to call them, right? Like, you're involving people like this, and it's more supposed to be like a fun event, are just typically like charity events. Like, when you just look at entertainment around the world, or at least there's always like big charity incentives there. So I do get that sentiment as well. And especially just because in the past, I think the proms did have some sort of charity element to them. Maybe I'm just misremembering, but I feel like in the past we have had that. I think what Teddy said is spot on, of just like, I don't actually know. So if there's someone from like Epic who ends up listening to this and wants to correct me for misinformation, feel free. But I don't know. Did they like pay people in the past at the proams to show up? I would assume they did, right? Whereas I'm assuming now they're not paying people. And so therefore it's like the incentive for the people to come is partly in one, that you have your prize pool, two, you'll be able to stream and have like your content still from there. And so like financially to people, it's like just a cool opportunity and you're making a lot of money. Whereas like back in the day, they were actually like paying people to go. So it's like you can like, you know what I mean? I think that's probably part of the reason in there.
And you know, some of these content creators' day rates will seriously be much higher than the amounts that they would win, even if they came first. So
yes,
you know, if you think that would be how much it would cost probably just to fly them and put them out there.
a lot of them,
guys,
a lot of them to get them to the pro-am to work officially to work would cost you way,
bro,
way more.
Whoa, we be hearing some numbers out in the streets that are.
They would have to
shame,
cancel
boys.
competitive for the rest
Oh
of
my
the year
God.
and next year to afford some of the creators there. So I think this is just the best way to do it in that sense, I guess.
Agreed. Yeah.
Bro.
Also, you know, we're talking about charity and Fortnite paying to charity. You know, what happened to Chapter 4 Season 3 Swizzy's win? You know, where's that 100K? Where is that? Well, why have we not heard about where that 100K is going to charity, man? You know, where's that gone? Where's that money gone?
It was funding the pro-am. It was just years down the line.
You know, where's that money? I'm still thinking about that. You know, I bring that up every 6 months or so. You know, where's that gone?
People, don't let people forget.
I won't let people forget.
All right, next one. We have Headhunter JT, who said, Siphon should be in the pro-am, plus comp reload, but I don't think it should be the 75 white over time. Would only work for these events. Potentially a 50 cumulative over 3 to 5 seconds would be good. He also added that it would be good because it not only helps with the mid game, but also end game for comp.
I do agree massively, because I played the one on Saturday or whatever it was, and actually just forgot that Siphon wasn't in it at all. And it's not that strange when you're in early game, but especially when people keep dropping on you over and over. If you like manage to get one of the players, then you get third partied a bunch. It's kind of strange to not have any Siphon at all. Plus, once you get to like a good end game, which there are now because of the new moving zones, it is strange that you just basically can't tank any Storm to get elims at all. And it's like my muscle memory was, I could jump into Storm to get this body, and it's like, no way, I can't. I'm going to die because I'm not going to get any whites from it. So this is a clean and simple 100%. I agree.
Yeah, I literally had the exact same experience in the Skin Cup where there was a guy popping. These are one of my few kills. No, I jumped in Storm and a guy popping a chug jug, and I was like, "I'll kill him, get the Siphon, get the chug jug." I was like, "Wait a second, where's my HP gone?" But no, yeah, I agree. I mean, you could even leave it at 75. I don't really think there's like a huge difference. I understand, like, I mean, to be honest, I don't actually understand why he wants to change. The 25 is not a huge difference. It's not going to make a massive difference in fights or anything like that. I think the Siphon we have in competitive is good. It makes a good balance of you're not just constantly getting like 50 shield. You can have the solar clutches. And for example, a lot of the game is in Storm in reload. You just are fighting in Storm constantly. Yeah. So it will just help a lot. Yeah, for sure. I actually don't know why they don't have it in there, to be honest.
One of the replies to this tweet was just not a hot take.
Yeah,
I think most people would agree we should have Siphon and reload. All right, we'll move on from this one because I don't think it's too hard of a take. Sebe said, the skill of content creators is overrated. Pros will dominate, solo clutching all the points, making it feel like a solo event where the content creators are serving as comedic relief.
Yeah.
I don't know if they are overrated. I think some of the players are actually quite good. Like, I think, for example, Lacey. Like, Lacey's a player who made heats a year ago. You know, this is a decent player. He's not like, obviously, the difference between a Heats level player and a tier 1 player is completely different. It's still massive.
Right.
But the difference between a Heats level player and some of the other content creators, there's a huge gap still between them, right? So I don't think some of them are getting overrated. I just think the only thing is you got to keep in mind is the difference between a tier 1 player and a Heats level player is just night and day. Like, and that's like the peak player. Most of them are below that, to be honest. So I don't know if many are getting overrated that much by people.
I would say overrated is an interesting word because everyone's just saying they're all shit. So
yeah,
there's not really many people who are like hyping up the content creators. Obviously, there are some who are really good, as Harry said, and there are some people who look genuinely good in the mode and have some skills. Like Zemi and Cooper played one of the Skin Cups and whichever one has passed already, and they cooked. They did really good as well, and he was valuable in that. I looked through some of the games as well, but it's like, I don't think it's a hot take to say that pros will dominate and then they'll solo clutch most of the points if the other player dies.
I think on the balance of things, I actually think the content creators are becoming underrated. Most of them.
Yeah.
I think that's valid. I think most of the content creators are just much more capable of surviving in these games than most people think. And for the most part, that's probably what's going to matter. You know.
Yeah, I think this expectation being so established is going to be one of the reasons why this is entertaining. Every time a content creator takes out a pro, as I said before, because no one expects it to happen that often, it will be one of the moments that we think back on when we think back on this tournament. So will the crazy solo clutches for the pro. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like this great barbell of the pros dominant.
Oh,
showcase
Teddy, you have Optimus primed out.
Hey,
My
you have
friend.
lagged out.
You lagged out there a bit, but finish your point. What were you saying? I think he's gonna try.
Am I good now? Maybe my
you're good now. You're good now.
It's like falling apart here. So if I end up dropping off mysteriously, you'll all know why.
For the audio listeners, Teddy has a beautiful backdrop. He's on like some he looks like he's in a lovely place here, mate.
I'm out in the woods.
Wow, look at him.
Anyways, but that's the barbell that I think makes the tournament interesting, which is you'll see dominant.
Oh, and
it's happened again.
It's happened again.
It's happened. Teddy, try reconnect for us while we get back to the. I think what's happening is every time Teddy starts to cook, it's just like, nah, he's overheating. He's overheating. Like, as soon as he gets into a rhythm, it's just the overheat straight up. All right, look, we've had a bunch of takes about the Prime itself. So let's get on some more specific ones to do with players, because we had a lot of comments to do with just the different teams and what people think. So first one I have here, Daniel the Uncle says, the only teams in contention to win the Pro-Am is Thomas HD and Somerset because it's a double pro trio, and Peterbot and Aussie Antics because Peterbot. The others can just go home.
Nah, there's no way. You can't say
I don't even think either
stable.
Of these.
You know?
Yeah.
Really? Well, who's your picks then before we go into that?
I think Clicks and Lacey. I just think I just think Clicks is obviously playing in the form of his life at the moment. It's not like Clicks of when he was not even getting top 10s in Grands. This is a Clicks who's one of the best players on NA right now with the best content creator. And we talk about, obviously, yes, Peterbot is a massive thing, right? It's obviously having a player like Peterbot just means that he will just shit on the content creator so quickly. It'll just become a 2v1 so fast. And his solo clutches are insane. But I just think that if a pro makes a mistake, I'm not going to, Peterbot's not on peak Peterbot form. We saw in Grands, it wasn't his number one performance. There's a chance he might die to some of these, obviously, these tier 1 players, the pros, right? Then I don't think Aussie Antics has that clutch in him that some of the other content creators do, I just don't think he does. I think if you were to put like Faxty, Lacey, Stable Ronaldo, even Somerset potentially in like some of these clutch situations, I think they have a much higher chance of gaining some more points than I think someone like Aussie Antics does. And I think he knows that. He's already said he's preparing to drop his mats, preparing to drop his good guns. He knows what he's doing, but I think those will be the games which move you towards winning, is the games where the pro dies, makes a mistake, and the content creator does have to clutch up a little bit.
That's valid. That is valid. I don't think these are the only two teams. Like, these are good picks. Like, I definitely agree. But like, as you mentioned, who did you say? I actually just had a full brain fart.
Clicks and Lacey.
There you go. I think Cooper's Emmy be good. Queasy Nicky 30 low-key underrated if you think, because they're drop spots right in the bottom left and there's like no one around them. Stinky storm plays for the whole game. Like, I can see it coming already. There's a bunch, 5 or 6 teams who I think could win it. So I don't think it's just 2 teams in contention at all. No.
Yeah, I think there's maybe a bit more there. We'll see though. Like, I think there's definitely, like, on paper, when you look at it, like, this somewhat makes sense, but then when you actually look more at some of the creators, I think the teams are a bit more balanced at the top. Like, there's a lot more teams that look decent. And speaking of one of them,
I just want to quickly say, lastly, is this the best chance for Thomas to win a quote-unquote FNCS in like the past year?
In the past year, I'm gonna say no, because technically like a year ago he
Oh,
did
true. Yeah,
lose
true,
by
true.
1 point.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, that's more than a year ago.
Um,
More than a year ago. Come on.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. But you would have thought with Queasy, like they had better
Yeah, true.
chances. But
True.
this team is an interesting one. Roix Woix says Jacob and Cammy could low-key win the Pro-Am. Cammy is Cammy, but Jacob used to play more competitively and nowadays consistently plays the game and is decent. He also won a game at a Pro-Am already back in 2019.
I don't know how much value the last part has on. He won a game.
He did add
6
more to his
years ago.
message, and he
Okay.
did say that probably doesn't matter. But hey,
Okay.
you know, like, he
Yeah.
did-
Yeah, I think the difficulty in this is that obviously Cammy's Cammy, let's be real. We don't know how good Jacob is because he's not really like an English speaking creator. We don't, I don't think any of us have you watched any Polish content recently?
Nope.
Well, I'm gonna guess not. I'm guessing not,
No.
right? Yeah, so like we have no expectation set. Like we know how good Aussie is, we know how good like Faxi is. We've seen like Somerset, and we know we've kind of got expectations, but we don't really know how good Jacob is because we just don't get into that. And the same with people from Brazil. The Captain Shota from Asia as well. So like we don't really have expectations on all these teams. So this could be a kook of a take. This could be a kook.
I think it will probably. I think it will probably end up being a bit of a cook. I feel like Cammy is always good for these like random events where he doesn't have to play with Seti.
So don't get me started. Just leave it. Don't get me started.
I'm trying to get Harry hyped up here.
I'm moved. Bring
Yeah.
me back to
So
Gamers
maybe
8
this
with
should be your
Yapko.
team. Yeah, this should
Yeah.
be the team you support, Harry. If anything,
Cammy's the professor.
Yeah.
Let him cook.
Yeah.
Just let him cook some things, and we'll see what happens. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's just, as you said, it's one of those things we don't know enough about Jacob. There's some of these content creators we just don't know enough about. We watch them maybe play a content cup or watch their YouTube videos, but you put them against, as we said the entire time, against a pro, and it's just you need such a different array of skills. Like you don't need to shit on like some random noobs. You need to be able to just hold your own. So
no, literally. If you made it this far an episode, comment down below. Prayers for Teddy, because I think we've lost Teddy for this episode. I think his internet's just died on him completely in his cabin in the woods. But yeah, appreciate you all for listening so far. Let's continue because you just mentioned these guys, but we have a take here saying Clicks and Lacey won't place top 3 as Lacey almost hasn't pracked at all. Now, I will say, I've not been that locked into like which creators have been playing a lot or not, but I did notice that whenever I have gone to look, Lacey is just not playing Fortnite. He's like
non-existent,
doing something. Yeah, like because he's a massive streamer and like his content's been doing amazing over the past year, and he's obviously got all these things that he's just constantly doing for his own content. And I've seen Clicks having to play with a lot of other people in Reload, so I know Clicks will be ready, but I don't know how much Lacey will truly be ready. But you'd also have to argue that he's one of the pros that probably doesn't need to ready up as long. Creators that doesn't need to ready up as long, because it's not that long since he was playing Fortnite quite a lot.
It's actually quite disappointing because if he locked in for like it's like a week or two, obviously that's probably a lot of money, I would imagine, with his level of current growth, and the amount of opportunities missed with what he's currently doing is probably relatively high. There's quite an opportunity cost there for him. But still, it's like I would have loved to see them lock in, because I saw they played one tournament, which I think was like a performance eval. And then they've not played any of the Reload Cups so far. They've not played any of the Skin Cups. I saw Clicks was playing like West with Courage. But Courage is grinding way more than Lacey is right now. Yeah. Courage is locked in right now.
New lease of life for his content. It's just playing with all these different pros.
I know. I know we're talking about Lacey, but as I mentioned, Courage, he is contesting Peterbot at Slurpee.
Is he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
I did
Cold
not know
versus
this.
Pete and Ozzy off spawn.
Yeah,
Slurpee in the middle of the map. Yeah,
Battle of the Titans, right there. Yeah.
But
anyway, it's disappointing that Lacey hasn't been grinding, but maybe it'll make we were saying that could be like an easy first pick team, but maybe if he's not pracking, he's not on his ball, maybe it closens the gap a bit.
I know Clicks has been beating the 4th curse recently, but this feels like a 4th place team.
Yeah, I agree.
Like they're good enough to win, but Lacey's not playing as much, and they'll still be good. because
Yeah.
to be in fourth, like you've got to be competing across those 6 games. But I do fear that maybe there'll be a couple other teams that just beat them to the punch.
I just had a quick look because you can see on Fortnite Tracker like if they've played any like creative or played any tournaments or anything. But when they first started playing, like I remember when it got announced, like Lacey and Stable Ronaldo were like, "This is it. We're going to play tokens all night." They were playing the late night tokens at the pros. He hasn't played the game since April 29th, Lacey.
Yeah, brilliant. So a week. He's actually not played the game in
yeah.
over a week.
Yes. So yeah, I think a lot of your worries might ring true when it comes to Saturday. So we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Our next take is Pete will win Pro-Am. We saw his solo clutches during Globals against the best players in the world. Imagine him in a lobby with content creators. He's solo clutching a top 3 every single game. They also added something else to this, which I definitely want to mention the rest of their monologue here to do with Peter. But they said he's solo clutching top 3 every game with the most limbs, genuinely unbeatable. Plus, Aussie isn't actually bad either. Can probably support up to 8th.
Support up to 8th.
So you get to top end, just drop all the mats. Yeah.
Like
yeah. I think it's me. I'm out, boys. See you. Stop me. I'm done.
Ozzy just starts viewing partying him like, what? That's what we're expecting.
I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of Peterbot solo clutches regardless.
But Reese, is this the same Peterbot that was at Globals?
Well, obviously not. Harry said it earlier.
Yeah, we saw day 1 of Grands. He was sleeping a little bit.
Yeah, he's awful.
And he's got a girlfriend now.
What? Oh, it's over. It's over.
The girlfriend nerf. We know how potent it's. The girlfriend nerf has taken down some of the greatest Fortnite players of all time. And even though many of us might think Pete is the greatest, this is his toughest task ever.
This is his toughest task. This is many a battle. This once they hit late teens and then they fall off. Like, hey. I have a whole video titled "Why Fortnite Players Fall Off at 18" or something like that. And you know what, Peterbot, he's getting to slip right into that right now, apparently. So yeah, no solo clutches. What? Forget it. Right? What's actually going to happen is Peterbot top 8 drops all his mats to Aussie, and Aussie now has to solo clutch every single game.
Yeah.
It's roles are reversed.
Yeah,
that would be pretty funny.
Yeah, it wasn't even the.
I've been hearing, through the grapevine, Aussie's actually getting a divorce for this alone. It's over the weekend only. So he's single. So he's going to go and primed full committed. Back together after that. Locked in. I think he's locked in.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's gone on loan to single FC just for the weekend. Just to,
Is this going to be back-to-back tournaments where Peterbot's not the best player on his team? Who knows? We might get back.
Look, one thing about this team that is kind of disappointing to me, and this might sound toxic to say, is Aussie is just too nice of a guy that the comms won't be as fun as they can be. I would love for Pete to be playing as someone who he feels he can just shout at and abuse if they're not pulling their weight. And that would be just way more fun to me.
But what if he still does it? Right, so he's like shouting, "You're dog shit! Why are you dying?"
You can't do that to Aussie, man.
I'm sorry, my bad.
Sorry, mate. Like that would be class.
You can't do that to Aussie, man. He's too nice. You can't. You know what I mean?
You haven't been listening to him when he's been getting streams. Like he's been shit talking his entire channel.
No, mate, Aussie when he's getting stream sniped is a different animal. But I don't think Aussie would be giving it back to Pete. That's the problem. He's kind of just. Yeah,
he needs to get into that mindset and just be like, right, this guy's stream sniping me. That's it. He's screen peeking. Let's go.
Screen peeking. Yeah, how do you know I didn't drop you the mat? How do you know? Oh man. All right. Yeah, we'll see. I think a lot of people expect that team to do good because of Pete. I wonder how much power Pete will hold as a solo. It becomes a question. Next take on said Queasy is guaranteed win because he's one of the most proven LAN players and he isn't playing with a total can. So I guess he believes some of the other players are playing a total can.
So I watched them play yesterday, Queasy and Nick A30. So there's two things out of one. Nick A30's listening skills,
it's in his name, Harry. Come on.
Yeah, literally. I think he literally, I've watched so many times where he's like, oh, just chill. And then Nick A30's just pushing a guy. He just keyed someone off spawn as a solo. Yeah, actually, but then the second thing is, he's really putting in a shift, Nick. He's actually doing really well. Like watching him play, he's really surprised me at how good he is, and he wins his ones. He's really good at it, for sure. I think, as you said, Reese, the meta with how it works in Reload with the zones, you can basically play Storm until like 5th, 6th zone, which is by that point it's the majority of the game because of how many people get scuffed because of all the 50-50s. And then secondly, I do agree when it comes to LAN, and I don't know the points format. I don't know if anyone knows the points format. If it is any form of win heavy, I could see Queasy and Nicky again like 2 wins, and that could be enough to put them up there in contention for sure.
I actually agree. I think Nicky 30, if you actually look at like mechanics, probably has the best mechanics of any creator. Which you would be surprised if you actually sat and watched him play some pubs. He's cooking. Who's there?
I think 11 disagrees. And I did.
Who's there? Who's there?
Somerset's better. Dyer's better. Who Stetty's playing with.
That's also probably fair. Yeah.
Who else is better? I mean,
that just doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right.
Cypher PK, that's a competition. That is.
I don't know if Cypher's PK makes it better.
Faxi's better.
Oh, Faxi's definitely better.
Fax is he's controller, but his controller mech is better than
top 10. Then let's say top 50%.
Brilliant. Mechanics, he's there.
He can build, guys.
He's top 90. We went to 20, but we were.
Oh man, you know what though? Like this team low key is like kind of funny. There was someone who else had who had a hot take to do with these. There's a lot of people who had takes to do with these guys that were basically just like these guys are actually really good and probably should win. I don't know. I don't know. I do feel like Nick being maybe a bit too overzealous might just cost him a bit. Like
he's a milker. Are you saying he's a milker?
You're calling him saying he's gonna get nervous.
Ooh, I don't think
shaky. You're saying he's a choke artist.
I'm gonna move on. I mean, look, it's a different type of pressure. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
This is a team for the ages, though. This is a team that will go down in history.
It is
as a great watch.
There was a take that someone left, and I'm so sad I didn't bring it in because I was going to bring it up just now while we talk about Queasy. Someone said, like, hot take, Queasy's going to swear too much and Nick is going to get up and refuse to play. Oh, no. They said, it's more ridiculous than actually. They said Queasy's going to swear so much, it gives Nikkei a heart attack and he has to have an ambulance take him out. Was there? That was their prediction. So
that's class. I already heard the first time they spoke. He was like, "Hello, my family-friendly streamer," and Queasy was like, "Yo, I'm gonna swear accidentally." And then he said, "Well, at the pro-am, I'm gonna be so locked in and focused. There's no way I can focus on not swearing. So it's gonna slip. So I just want to see what Nicky 30's stream title is gonna be before game 1 even starts.
Every warning possible.
18 plus. Like all these people who are streaming like betting and gambling. That's what Nicky 30 stream title is going to look like. Like for
do not
only.
Swear. It's bad news to swear. Don't.
His mods are going to be working overtime.
Yeah.
After every game, Queasy mutes. He just starts swearing. Like every time you watch it, he's just like, I can't fucking do this. Like it's so hard.
It's going to be brilliant. Be brilliant. Someone said Koyota and Asian Shota. I think his name's Captain Shota. But
yes, Asian Shota is crazy.
It's a mad one. Koyota and Shota and Gon and Flakes will both come top 10 or top 5, sorry, as everyone is underestimating them because they come from smaller regions. I will say, the Pro-Am ep we did a couple weeks ago, there were a lot of angry Brazilians in the comment section saying that we were sleeping. First time in history of esports, huh? There was a lot of angry Brazilians complaining, saying that we didn't give Gon and Flakes the right respect. Now, we did preface multiple times that we just hadn't watched Flakes play Fortnite ever, so it was a bit hard to gauge. But I will say, just for pure intimidation alone, I now back this team more.
You're a believer now.
I've just seen, by the way, Flakes made grands this season.
He did.
Yeah,
Shit,
he
wait,
made brands.
they were cooking. Wait. The Brazilians were cooking.
Yeah,
They
he
were
made
cooking.
his track is insane. It's only double digits. It's literally just like in the weeks it's like 40th, 50th. Like he's just
He's a
crazy.
good player. No,
He's still got 0 earned though.
Yeah, he's got.
So
yeah,
this is the
That's
thing.
that's crazy. He made grands and he got no money. Is
Yeah,
that
he's
like
got- yeah, it's the same as
What?
it's like
Global.
it's bottom like 13 teams. So if you don't place top 20, you don't get.
so? He's actually on the come up. That's the thing.
Yeah.
If you
I
look
just thought-
look at his tracker, he is
He's got
actually
30
on the come up
KPR.
right now. Yeah.
He's got 30 KPR. He's actually top 200 in Brazil. He's top 200 in Brazil.
Okay, wait, now that's crazy. When you put it.
Yeah.
So okay, the vibe I'm getting from Flakes is that if he were on NA, we would probably talk about him the way we talk about like Somerset or someone. Like we'd consider him like a pro level creator.
Yeah.
Which is based off of what the Brazilian people were saying, at least from when I was translating their angry messages and the Fortnite track information that Harry gave me, he seems like that level of player. And there was somebody else, I don't know if I have the take here, but there was somebody else who basically was just like, Gon did really well. Yeah, it was here. They said, my hot take is that Gon and Flakes are getting top 5. People keep forgetting that Gon got 17th of globals playing with someone who he couldn't really communicate with, obviously being Quanti. So are we sleeping on Gon and Flakes? Is this
Maybe
the
we
surprise
are.
team?
Maybe we are. This is Brazil's chance to shock the world.
Now,
'Cause,
Captain Shotter's tracker not as pretty. Let's not kid ourselves here. 100 PR is not as pretty as the 27,000 or whatever we just saw. Grand level player on Brazil. That can't be fair. Like, sorry, I'm just deep in it. He's actually just got Grand level player playing with.
Yeah, he's a
That's
pro.
crazy.
He's
Look
a
at
pro.
2 pros. Yeah, I mean, while we're talking about Coyote, I just want to see some Coyote clips from this event.
Yes.
Surely there's got to be some packed in crazy piece that he goes through.
For sure.
Yeah.
We'll see it. We'll definitely see it. All right, Kason7 said, Cold and Courage will win Pro-Am by a decent amount. Cold is just Cold, and Courage has been grinding reload more than anyone. I wanted to talk about Courage because Courage has been on, like, he's realized that competitive Fortnite is the way. He is fully embraced competitive Fortnite. He was viewing partying grands. He's been playing tournaments. He's been streaming. He's loving it. And I think he will reap the rewards of that through a good placement with Cold this weekend.
So for any of my gym listeners out there, right? Say in my brain, I'm like, right, I want to deadlift 400 kilos, right? Right now I deadlift, let's say 220. If I train as hard as I possibly can for 3 weeks, how close am I going to get to that 400 kilo deadlift?
Get some training there. Get some
Insulin acetate
supplements.
I'll tell you what, all the trend in the world won't put me up to the 400 kilo deadlift in that amount of time. And I think there's a little bit of a mirror image here of, we have a man who has not played competitive. He is grinding. You are correct. But the baseline was not, it wasn't a cook, Is he still using Simple Edit?
He is. He's using Simple Edit. He is.
Okay. He is going to edit in someone's face and get one pumped. He is going to edit on a pro's face and get one pumped.
That might happen. But like he has been playing reload cups with pros and doing like he played with who was it that he played with?
He played with
someone.
Cold,
he played with Higgs.
Clicks.
They placed one below Clicks and Higgs in one of them, or Clicks and Yums or someone. I went on this stream randomly like 2 days ago. He's just grinding like Arena or reload with Yomzo and shit. I'm like, this guy's like playing, and he's playing with the best player in NA last grand.
Yeah, I can hear it. I was just looking at their stats. It was these stats for the reload cups are so funny. It's small things like Courage having 5 times the amount of mats farmed than Cold, just dropping them to Cold permanently. And
Not surprised.
He's getting some frags, 20 frags. That's respectable.
That's not bad.
That's good.
Look,
That's
he can
good.
shoot. This is the perfect example of like just be able to shoot your gun and like just follow, and you will be good.
We're missing out on the Cold IGL and the Cold Tarping, which I don't know how long it's been if that's ever happened.
Not from memory.
Cold IGL might not be a solid cook, but he like he doesn't. He's not an IGL, but it's not like he doesn't com. Like Cold can com, and I think that will be enough to get him through in these games.
I feel like Courage would listen too. I feel like he will listen.
Yeah.
I think he knows his place in the duo. I think he's going to respect that. He's not going to be like, you said that Nicky 30 is running away key and kids. Like, I think Courage will be like, if you say come here, he will sit.
Right.
But the best thing that's come out of all this is Courage AD back to comp. Like, we're actually getting viewing parties, grands.
Yeah.
He's now playing these Reload Cups with pros. Like, I hope this is like it's like the new fire that's just going to keep him like watching tournaments, maybe not playing them, it's fine. You don't need to play them, but like viewing parties and things like that. Like, I'm down. Like, this is fun.
I think, I think it will. I think it will keep him involved more in comp. Like, we had Cypher, for example. Cypher, I think at a certain stage realized like, hey, like if I make a lot of content around comp, there's so much interest in comp. If I make content around it, like it's gonna do well for me. And I think Courage has reached that stage as well, where he's probably made that realization, like, yeah, I can keep doing like the casual Fortnite stuff I do, but like if I like also do some comp stuff, it's also good. Like there's an audience there for it, and people enjoy it. So I think this will be good.
If you're like a casual creator anyway, an interest is who's the best Fortnite player, and then that naturally leads you down to, well, there's just competition, and you're talking about competitive immediately. So it's a very easy way to get into that style of content if you're someone casual already.
For sure.
Also, we didn't actually answer this. We didn't actually answer if they're going to win. We didn't actually say, are they going to win by a decent amount? I don't think so. I think there's a high chance this team gets to top 5. I think we could have some heater games out of them. Win by a decent amount? I think that's a little stretch.
Are they going to split Slurpee? Because
surely there's so much loot.
Yeah, they have to be split.
If they split Slurpee, then I could see it, but like, because obviously then you just pull every single zone, you have all the loot in the world, you just don't even need to do anything for the first 5 zones.
There's just no way Pete and Cold are committing to just fighting each other off spawn every game of this 6-game tournament.
There's going to be one game where Courage JD's just running in the open, and Peterbot's just like, he looks like a drone. Let's key him. And they just sprint him.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
That was a nice sound effect.
Yeah.
That's a good point, actually. I think they will split, but I do think they'll end up fighting more because one of them will drone out. Like Ozzy or Courage will just drone out and get like beamed.
What if they just farm kills on each other with the reload? Like, get each of them die, and they're just farming the points from killing each other on repeat mid-map.
That should get them banned, but who knows how these things work nowadays, mate.
Oh, no, we killed them, and I'm going to shoot them out the air again. Oh, no.
New surge trading unlocked.
Yeah.
I will say, to wrap up, there's one more. Actually, no, we already talked about it, so I'm not going to do that. To somewhat wrap up talking about, like, the Pro-Am teams, based off of this conversation we've just had, it's clearly way closer than everyone thinks. Everyone's talking about teams being imbalanced and everything. Every time we get to one of these teams, you can genuinely make like good reasoning that they can top 5 with so many different teams, which to me says it's actually a lot more balanced than we think, and there's actually a lot more good teams than we think. So I'm really excited for this event. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun.
This is going to be one of the most fun events to watch as well, because like say, kind of going back to one of the points that was earlier where they said, this with a celebrity question that we had, like it was good. How many of them do you really remember? Like how many of the Pro-Ams do you remember big moments from or interesting stuff from? There really wasn't that many. I think from this there'll be a lot of like interesting stuff we'll look back on and be like, that was such a cool event. The format kind of fits that way. The teams pairings, the fact that people are all relevant within the space. Like I think this will be a fun and memorable event.
Yeah. So after all of this, prediction for who's going to win. We said it's close. We've got to get a final prediction.
My current prediction for who's going to win is... It's changing nonstop, to be honest, with all the more data I get. And by data, I just mean who I watched that day.
The scouting
report. It changes. Right now, I feel really good about Cooper and Zemi. But
gotta stand your ground, gotta get one.
If it's not them, I really also am feeling just a Thomas Somerset. Thomas
Ooh.
winning this would be
Mm.
hilarious. Like,
That
it
would
would
be
just
so
be
funny.
perfect.
This would be. He could just retire after that, you know. I feel like
hope not.
He's
feel
won a
like,
land.
I hope not. I hope not. I hope not. But like, it would be the funniest career trajectory if he were to win this and then retire. Right? Like, it would be in 10 years, someone make a video, be like, "Can you believe this? Can you believe what's happened to this guy?"
I love how you said someone like it's not you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, 10
And in
years, I'll be
in
dead by
10
then,
years,
mate. I'm
10
yeah.
days afterwards.
No. Yeah, I think and those are good picks. I think there are heaters. I mean, after hearing what we said about the Brazil team, 916 gone in power, like that could be a juicy team. Who do I think is actually going to win? Why am I looking at this map and I'm just thinking Podesai Nikov going to win?
We haven't
Someone
talked about them. Yeah.
Someone did mention them as like a cook of a team.
That or Mongrel Allier.
I did say no more, but there was a take. Mongo and Allier will cook at Pro-Am.
Here we go.
So there was someone in the comments that was really angry at us during our Pro-Am app, and they were like, the way you guys are disrespecting Mongo and Allier, like you're doing this full disrespect. You need to get real with yourself. You need to you need to give your head a wobble.
It's the sad reality is Mongrel's in the bottom half of pros and Allier is the bottom content creator. It's just the sad reality, you know, and it's just you can't you put them together. It's not suddenly now they're going to win. It's unfortunate because I'd love Mongrel to do a Mongrel Cypher PK. That would have been a cook, something like that. That would have been fun. But yeah, I guess we're just he just kind of got put with I think genuinely the weakest content creator there is, and it's just then at that point it's just a bit cooked.
I'm not an expert on a lot of these creators' Fortnite ability, but I have seen Allier play Fortnite recently, and it was not anywhere of the level that most of the other creators who I have seen are at. And so then you're looking at Mongrel to be the solo carry and really put in the legwork against Peterbot, Canada, Clicks, Queasy. Like it's not even like what we doing there? Do you know what I mean? Like,
they're
what
also one of two teams to not put their drop on the map, so they're so locked in that they're actually hiding strats. So maybe they're going to cook up something crazy.
Strats in the Pro-Am.
Have they played Fortnite with each other? Yeah,
I would very much so doubt it.
I would imagine they have it. I would go as far as to say.
I know what you're about to. I know what you're about to say. Just say it.
Just say it. Rip the
I'm not going to say what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say what I'm going to say. But I would like to point out, and it might sound harsh, and I know it's not the same. There are creators who have made a grand final of FNCS more recently than Mongrel.
Oh god! Oh god!
Wow. You had to go there, didn't you?
And I know Mongrel would make a grand finals on Brazil, obviously. But you know, I mean, like, we're not, like it's not like we're talking about like the guy who just won global championships here. Like, yeah, I mean, like I hate to sound like I'm just shitting on Mongrel, but it's not the same. Like, it's just not the same.
I didn't believe in magic until Dogs turned into snakes. Like,
man.
this is the UK pro.
These guys are getting 7.5K. That's all we're saying, right?
Yeah.
So
I would love for them to do something.
That would be amazing.
It would be
amazing.
Brilliant. Like it would be brilliant, and I would happily hold it. Like I'd happily just take my L, but it don't look good.
Expectations have been set.
Yeah, it don't look good. It don't look good. All right, let's talk about the new season a bit. Because it is a season. And without even I just want to start getting into some of the takes out here, and we'll just let the conversation go from there. First one we got is from Adders, who says no rotation seasons will show the best trios.
I used to believe in this, but with 12 zones, it's not possible. Sadly, I think the zones, the 50-50 zones, are too big. It makes it way too RNG reliant. Obviously, there are things you can do to get around it. But when you have no mobility, I loved mobility methods all the way back in the 9 zones. If people didn't play before, zones used to be 9 zones, so 12 zones. There was only one 50-50 zone and then went straight into moving. It was a less distance to travel in the 50-50 zone as well if it pulled far. So there was more you could do about it, right? In these zones, the 6th, 7th, 8th zones, if you get 3 maxes in a row, you are out of builds by this point with
Yeah.
infinite ammo,
Yeah.
with everything that's in the game, with grenades. And with hit scan, it's just too. This meta, from a competitive standpoint, is too RNG reliant, in my opinion. I think there's just too much that's out of your hands.
I wholeheartedly agree. Every word. I completely used to say the exact same thing. Back in chapter 2, when it was the previous zones, said the same thing. All skill, no mobility metas are absolutely the tits. Right now, they are dog. Like, they are so bad. Which season was it? Last chapter. Whenever I was playing last chapter and there was no mobility meta, I can't remember what it was. Getting max pools over and over on those partial zones, even if you put yourself in a good spot, it can be so debilitating. It's like you can just drain so many mats. And if you're a team who can like frag out, fair enough, you can get a refresh. But like for the vast majority of teams, it's so RNG heavy. And like, you know, and by frag out, I mean literally if you're like Peterbot, like those aren't as bad, right? But for everyone else, it's like you're draining so much materials getting into that. I think nowadays the best seasons are just balanced mobilities, like stuff, you know, that you can go quicker, but it's not just infinite, crazy, stupid mobility with something that has a risk to the reward at the same time, but yet something that doesn't make you drain 1.5k mats every single time you do a max rotate. So 100%. I don't think this will make it super skilled. I think there's a lot of RNG involved too. Or it kind of, now that I'm saying like the best fighters, like kind of proves his point slightly, where you can fight your way out of like a low mat situation, sure. But generally, yeah, I don't really agree.
Yeah. But then that flip it on its head. We're not just talking about the teams who don't pull zones. Your game can just be saved if you pull like you gain such an advantage by pulling zones. It's like you can watch a replay and you'll go, oh, they've got good mats here. How are they going to pull max distance? They pulled zone. Now I see how they save so many more mats. It's like it just lowers a lot of the skill. I get what he's saying about fighting. Yeah, that makes sense. But it's like you gain, it's too much of an advantage you gain. Way too much to the point that it can be seen as unfair.
I mean, even in high mobility seasons with a lot of those max pools, you still are absolutely draining almost every map, right?
Yeah.
Like if you get a bunch of those in a row and you're in a bad spot early on, which can happen even if you're an insanely good team, you know, it just depends on what's happened the few zones prior and where you kind of ended up based on that. It could just be like a full game ender. And the worst part about that actually is if you die in those positions in the zone, it's just a long game. So like in set lobby's not as bad, but if you die in like 6th or 7th zone, you know, you're playing out like almost a 20-minute match to die with minimal points. So it's like no mobility can sometimes make you die at the worst moments and waste huge amounts of games where otherwise you might be able to get through and get some end game points instead.
Yeah.
Okay. Our next one we have from Eleni, who said, as someone who loves watching comp, this new season is awesome. Do not understand why people can't just enjoy 1 month of fun before we get a proper meta again. Just enjoy each season for what it is.
I wholeheartedly agree. I saw Harry smirk, so I think he doesn't agree with this. But I think this goes back to what I said earlier. Every season is what you make of it. Now, if this season was 3 months long, I would be not happy. I would not be a happy man, right? I wholeheartedly agree. This is not a good competitive season, not designed well, but it's not designed around competitive. Like, if you understand that, you go in, you know what the tournaments are, it's going to be what it's going to be. Like, it literally is 4 weeks of a whole year. Any like complaints about how shit is, I get it, but it's literally 4 weeks, then it goes to a new season. Like,
yeah. I was smirking because I agree with this. I actually agree.
Nice.
Even from like a coach's standpoint, it's like I should be sat here going, as I said, the meta shit, this infinite ammo. I haven't played as much ranked as I'm playing right now in a long time. Like I'm having a lot of fun playing the game. Like literally, like I'm having so much fun playing. Like because you don't have to loot for that long. The loot's easy to get. You don't need to loot for ammo, and then you can just go fight or do whatever you want. Right? It's actually it's fun to play, especially solos where you're not getting triple sprayed with infinite ammo. It's a lot more fun in solos. But I agree. It's like it's 1 month. You just firm it. You just go, okay, yeah, we know what it is. It's a full fun meta. Just play it, enjoy it, don't enjoy it, but just don't sit there and have a go at Epic for it. It's like, we understand why it's the case. They've made the best out of it. And honestly, it's really not that bad. From a competitive standpoint, high level, I get it. Finals are going to be miserable. But overall, just playing the game, I think it's all right.
I also, sorry, I heard the inhale there, Levin, but as I started talking, but I also don't think I've actually seen that as many complaints. Like, I feel like most people do know.
Yeah.
On day one, week one, or not week one, like the first couple days, there were a lot. This is the shit season all the time, blah, blah, blah. But like, I mean, maybe it's because it's not even been a tournament yet, so maybe we'll just see more. And I know people are saying more stuff behind the back, but I haven't actually seen as much as like with Nitro season, for example, where it was like so much broken shit, and the expectation was it would last the entire season. I just see people just being like, "Yeah, it's a month long. Just get over it. Go next."
I think a lot of that is just because we are now the strongest soldiers. We've been through worse.
Yeah,
you know, like we've just been through way worse than this. But it's funny because there were a lot of takes, and here's one of them that were saying, nah, this is worse than Mex, this is worse than Nitro, this is worse than everything else. This person here said, hot take, this comp season is far, far, far worse than Nitro season, even pre-Nitro Fizz vaulting and the Nitro nerf.
Right. I've got the simplest answer to this. I nearly qualled a duo cash cup in the Nitro Fist meta. That's how uncompetitive the meta was. I was top 30 with like the last 30 minutes left. Like this, it is not even close. I was running around feeling like I'm Peterbot in his prime, just killing full duos, just punching them. It's just, I think people, when they go past metas, forget how it actually was, how bad it was. Ranked was unplayable. Tournaments were unplayable. You couldn't box up. It was the worst meta. That is actually the worst meta we've had in competitive ever. Like, you can maybe say Mex. You could agree. I could argue Mex, and I could see it. I could see the point, but it was so bad. Like, to the point that there was no skill. Like, you actually weren't playing Fortnite. I think people, this is just, yes, infinite ammo sucks, and yes, grenades are also OP. But we've had a lot of metas where there's been RPGs, heavy snipers. You know, you used to be able to get double heavy sniper through a wall. You've done nothing wrong, and you're just dead. There goes your game. Like, I think we've had a lot of metas which have been a lot worse than this.
I think what makes this meta not feel as bad is the fact that it very clearly isn't trying to be a regular Fortnite meta.
Yes.
I think the problem is when we've gone into seasons where they've tried to like cook up a season, and we're like, yo, what were you guys thinking? Whereas like they couldn't have made it more clear what this season is. We literally have Star Wars blasters with infinite ammo. Like
the worst names of all time.
Do you know what I mean? Like they if you're like sitting there thinking, why didn't they cook on the most competitive season? like you kind of are just like banging your head against the wall here, you know? Yeah. It's funny, Reece, you mentioned before of just like, like going into tournaments, like it's me personally, I'm just not going into tournaments. That's my approach. And
I'm gonna try it.
Funny enough, I'm as a Div 3 player, I can't play anything anyway.
Imagine. Wait, you're not in Div 3, Harry? Is that
I'm
right?
not in Div 3. No, you're not.
Div 2.
I'm not in Div 3 either. That's crazy, man. So we can play tournaments, but you can't.
Never get on your console. It's fine. There's some victory cups you can play if you want. No, just
you got a PS5, right?
Wow. Look at this.
Also, I would say, right, just as a response to this hot take, okay, if you ever see Levin in a squad in game hitting like 1v4 on low ground with those nitro fists, you're never going to see that again. Like, I'm sorry to 1v4 low, you're just not seeing that again, right? That should just say enough about how broken that season was.
That brings up trauma, those squad cups where I got snaked. That brings up trauma.
Yeah, you got left, mate, unfortunately. No, this season's not as bad as Nitro season. Let's get serious. Let's get serious. This one, what do you think of this, guys? Ammo is an outdated concept. The extra pressure applied from a lobby of players not needing to worry about ammo makes mid-game more important and reduces server lag in comp.
Ammo's outdated. Is this where we've got to? Is this what happens when we have no FNtasia in the season? We need ammo. No ammo, and just allowing players just to spray because they're bored is not a good thing. We should not allow infinite ammo in any other season. Like, I understand that, yes, the server lag thing, whatever, right? We already have Storm Surge because of server lag, and that's a whole different topic we could get into. But I don't think we need to remove ammo because of it. I think it's just, you just get, sometimes if a team's bored and they just spray you, they can just spray you forever. And it's just brilliant. What did I do wrong? Oh, I boxed up next to a team who was bored.
Yeah. This is from my boy Double. I know Double. And I must say, this is the worst take I've ever heard you say. This is... no. I think if, again, we'd had a tournament this season that's already played out, and people had experienced 10 games of everyone shooting at you for literally no reason because there's no downside of doing it, I don't think we would be reading this take saying that that there's that. No, it's too punishing. Like, there's no downside. If you rotate late, or even if you rotate early, like if someone's sitting in full built metal, why not shoot them? Like, why not just take all three of you and just start spraying at them? Because there's almost zero reason to not do it, unless it's because they're going to shoot you back. Because they also have infinite ammo. So it's like, it creates this odd dynamic where there's zero reason not to shoot at people for 100% of the game. Because you're not wasting any of your ammo. You can just pressure everyone. You're never safe at any point. If you're on height, super easy just to shoot at everyone with infinite ammo and just continually drain all their mats into in-game. Mid-games, like I said, late rotates. You're getting lobby focused forever because there's no reason for people to stop spraying. Hard mats doesn't matter because you can just shoot through full belt metal because you have infinite ammo. So, no.
Guys, maybe let's not be so hasty. Maybe it's cooking it. Maybe you guys aren't seeing that.
What do you think?
Hit me with it. Hit me with it. Tell me.
No, I don't think this is a cook. Look, Fortnite is a resource management game, and so if you take away one of the resources, it creates an imbalance in like the ways you guys described. Now you could maybe have the alternate view that like removing one of the resources makes the other resources more important, but there's just too much like RNG variables that just make it like not as fun and interesting. Like, I think the fact that like you have to think about what loot you're getting so you have enough ammo for a game is like good. Like, that's part of the game. Like, I think that's good. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing it, and we're gonna see it this season, but I don't think we can say like ammo's an outdated concept and like that's just that, you know.
No, I also think like, why don't we just make everything infinite? Infinite mats, just infinite ammo, just why not?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Infinite
I
health,
mean,
why not?
I remember back in the day, like I used to always say I would love to see like a solid gold cups, just to see what happens when everyone's loot's just the same. Like, I'm still curious to see what that'd be like, you know, like in a lot of other battle royales, like people's loot is the same. I know in Apex you can like, upgrade armor and stuff, right? And that's like the different buff. But you know, like in like PUBG and stuff, like everyone's like guns are the same. It's just like the difference in attachments, I guess, right? But yeah, I'd be curious to see what that looks like. Still, I'd love experimenting. I think we don't experiment enough in Fortnite. But this specifically, I just feel like ammo is not the one we should think about maybe limiting or messing with too much.
Agreed.
So yeah. All right. Cham is barking, says the Star Wars pump is the most balanced shotgun we've ever had, and I'd like to see them copy and paste its stats for the Chapter 7 pump.
I wholeheartedly agree. This shotgun is a banger. It's a banger. If you don't know the stats, it's basically exactly the same as the Sentinel pump, but with like half the structure damage. And playing with it feels so good because like the reticule's small, you're rewarded for good aim. It does do a little bit too high body shot damage. I will say that. So that could be nerfed definitely. But it, like, you can hit big bangs if you hit a headshot with it. It's fast firing rate. So like in terms of fire rate, say a standard pump shotgun is 0.7. This is 0.85. So it's like, you know what, 20% faster firing rate or something like that. I played some games with the pump and realized how slow 0.7 is in comparison to this. So it's like, you can actually make good fast plays with it. You can continue to switch to it back and forth, take one shot, edit, shoot again kind of thing. That's quick. It's rewarding. Obviously, the fact that it's infinite ammo is a bit stupid, but I wholeheartedly agree. I actually think this is probably the best pump if they nerf the body shot damage a little bit.
That was what I was about to say. I was going to say the same, basically, about the body shot, because I was like, most balanced. I'd have to go back through every single shotgun and try and remember them all, but there's been
hammer pump. Hammer pump.
The hammer pump was.
Everyone said it hits like nothing, but their aim's just ass, you know?
Yeah, the hammer pump was a lot of fun to use, but it's up there for sure. This is one of the reasons why playing ranked is fun. A lot of the weapons are just fun to use and pretty balanced. Obviously, there's a few. There's a few.
I was going to say, I still don't know what guns I'm using whenever I'm using them. Like, I figure it out through shooting them, but like I don't know the name.
ACP blaster. Let's get the name right. It's on the path.
22 fucking thingy magic. Like, I don't know, but the guns all do feel good. I agree.
Yeah, so I agree. I think lower the body shot damage, and I think we're near to a perfect pump. because that sensible pump with the structure damage got very tiring very quickly. And it's a lot nicer not to just all your walls just taken in 1 second.
Yeah, there's a big difference when you're fighting with a shotgun that does so much structure damage and without, because with the Sentinel pump, it's like there's never really a bad reason to shoot a wall with it and then reload a shot. Like if you've got 0 bullets, sure, obviously that might be bad because then you have no ammo left. But now with this kind of shotgun, it's like, sure, if you shoot it, you're going to weaken the wall before you try to wall replace it. But now you actually have to think about using your spray guns and your pickaxes more in order to actually replace it, rather than just thinking pump, pickaxe once or something like that. You know, it actually slows down the pace of the game in a way that's not punishing, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't slow it down in a way where it's
a
like,
shame.
Clunky.
I was gonna say it's a shame that they actually have finally found a balance of like slowing down like how you use your shotgun so you don't get quick deaded, because there's like a million other ways to get quick deaded this season. It's like, you know, like they finally slowed it down so someone can't quick dead you with the pump, but then you'll just get like hit with like lasers from all angles and fucking flying.
The marksman, where you just 145 headshot, like
I think the shot pump is good though. I agree with this. I think it's really good. All right, what else do we have here on my list of takes? This one, I can't remember what this one was. Fortnite needs to do season 1 and 2 is a normal season. Season 3 is something like this 30 days super goofy season, and season 4 and 5 normal seasons, and then do one more season 6 goofy season before a new chapter.
That's a crazy concept.
Yeah, I was gonna
yeah. Where's he come up with that idea?
Yeah,
that's what's
what they're doing.
Right,
that's literally what they're doing. Yeah,
I do agree though. I think that's a good idea. I also think it's a bit. They should have.
I'll add. Sorry, he did add more to this. I don't know if I'll be able to find the rest of his tweet, but essentially, like the point he was making, I remember now, was just like Fortnite is a goofy game. They need to play into that, and so having these like goofy like 30-day seasons is good for the game, because it's almost true to what Fortnite was at its core.
It helps
I do agree
the
with
casual.
that. And
it helps the casual because every season is a fight between competitive and casual, how they want the season to be. And it's like, if you just have 2 seasons a year where it's a month break for the competitive players, if they want to have a break or play with new trios, which they're doing at the moment, a lot of them, if you want to go on holiday, or for the casuals, if they want to have a full for fun season and not having things nerfed into the ground and things like that, it's like, this is the perfect way to do it. It's like just splitting into a balanced season to a non-balanced season, and it's fine. And I think 100% they should keep with this format. I'll be interested to see like at the end of the year how people think for season 6, or as they call it, chapter 6 mini season 2, because they've got their own name. They're called mini season. But I'll be interested to see if people agree, because it'll be like, oh, can we just get into the whole new chapter now? What's the point of this like mini one? If it's not an OG season, of course, but
True.
Yeah, we'll see. I
was interested like player count numbers, because I want to see, I've seen a lot of complaints about from casuals actually saying this season's not very fun, which I found really interesting, because I thought they would enjoy this. Maybe it's just a mixed reception. Maybe I'm just seeing casuals complaining about it. But player number wise, like it hasn't had a huge jump up from the previous season. Actually, I guess it kind of. So on a weekend, it kind of peaked. I used to peak at around 2 million. Now it's like 2.3. So it's, there's not been like a huge jump up for a new season. However, to give it credit, if I go back to like the previous year, it was kind of the same jump up for whatever the 3rd season would have been at that time. So that was Nitro season though, which is going to ask. So I think and like player counts overall look pretty much the same as this time last year. So it's not like it's been necessarily a bad change so far. Again, I think Harry's right though. When you see at the end, if people want 2 of these, especially if it's just like pure collab seasons, where I think a lot of people might get frustrated with just being, it's just a Star Wars season, so it's got to make money.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to find a balance, right? Because it's like, even like the last season, like being an OG, I know like some people would like a chapter 3 OG or something like that, right? But like, I don't think
Harry's
rinsing
only one,
OG. That's the point I was trying to make.
Went over my head.
I was waiting for him to like react, and he
no.
react,
I don't need to react. Everyone knows that best chapter. Best chapter.
Okay, yeah, like I don't think them rinsing. I think I like the fact that there's 2 slots there to just give them room to be creative. If sometimes it's a collab season, cool. If the collab's cool and like you can have fun with it. If sometimes it's like just a straight up OG season, cool. If sometimes it's like what they tried to do with Remix last year, where it's an OG but with a twist, like just be creative with it and give us a fun season. I think we've had 7 years of Fortnite, 8 years of Fortnite, something like that. I trust them to make a fun season, even though there's been a lot of not fun ones for me personally. Like, generally, I think them having the ability to just cook for a month and just make something, I trust them to do that. So as long as the rest of the year is just like cohesive and good, and obviously I care about competitive, so as long as it works for that, yeah, I'd cook for your little 2 months.
I do think they should have done something better with the tournaments this season, though. Like,
Yes.
the fact that they removed solo cash cups seems very strange. Maybe it's just a whole cheater thing for the month. I don't know. No solo cash cups, no Div 3 cups. Basically, if you're like a Div 3 player, the only thing you can play is skin cups. And if you're
Ranked
on console,
cups.
you can play, ranked
Isn't
cups.
it ranked cups? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and then
Or the
the
console
console
victory.
cups.
Yeah.
If you're on console, yeah. So it's a little bit. I think this is probably not going to be a very. I don't think people will be that interested in competitive this season generally. You know.
Nah, they won't. And that's one thing I'm worried about, because you'd like to think that if Prime is a success, you're going to have a lot of people who are not interested in competitive with nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Which I guess I don't know. I don't know if they've put much thought into that. I don't know if that's not going to be the worry at all. But I'd like to think that that's part of the whole point of Prime, right? We're celebrating competitive and we're trying to bring more eyes on competitive. Cool. I'm interested now. Imagine being like a random Courage JD fan who now, after this, you're like fully locked in. You're like, I'm invested in competitive. This is great.
Yeah.
What next? Can I play something? Can Courage play something and I watch?
Yeah.
It's like,
no, we got
not really.
That's kind of the World Cup Season X thing. You know, you got all these people hyped about tournaments and competitive, and then you give them Season X, so they go, that's rubbish.
Well, at least they had something.
Well,
True, they at least
maybe
had a tournament.
But they had something, you know.
I think it would have been better if they didn't. I'll be honest. You know.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. For me, I'm gonna play it when I'm playing with you lot, the boys, and I just will not be playing anything else on Fortnite, really. So yeah, shame for me, but I don't matter. You mentioned something, Harry, and it's the last thing I want to talk about before we wrap up today's episode. This season, there were a couple takes about this, so I'm sorry if you sent this take and you're like, I've sent this and you didn't bring it up. There were a lot of people who basically were talking about, hey, what do you guys think about all the trios and the pros splitting up and playing with random people? There were some people saying, is this going to be a great opportunity for the teams who stick together to be in an even better position going into next major plus globals? Do you think this is going to hurt some of those teams? Does it make sense? Just people were just asking us a lot of questions about it. And so I want to get thoughts from the two of you on where do you sort of, stand when it comes to all of these top teams we're seeing splitting up for the one-off month?
It's, how do I phrase it in the best way? I think for certain teams, it makes sense. For certain teams who maybe have played together for a while, and you feel like maybe not burnout, but you feel like the vibes might go, and you can just get a fresh honeymoon phase in a season where it doesn't matter. To be honest, you could take the whole season off and it wouldn't really matter. That makes sense, right? But for certain teams, I think it's going to actually have a massive knock-on effect to lower level players, right? So for example, let's just say, for example, Shark's playing with Vino and Flixie. He's probably gone from a trio that he could have played with, and then once this season finishes, what happens? And trio's then going to have to resplit again, add in new players, and then the domino effect going down of trio splitting and re-getting together it will become really messy. For the top teams who have qualified globals, it makes sense. I think it's fine for the most part. Hopefully, it's not what happened. Hopefully, what happens isn't that they play with these new players. Are like, oh, these new players actually got a lot of nice things about them. Then you go back to your teammates and you get some little quirks you don't like. When he does this, it annoys me. When he does that, it annoys me. But
I think some of them are splitting though for those reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I don't think they'll really fix themselves because you're not really working through the problem, are you? If you're just splitting. So I don't know. I think for some teams it'll work. I think for some teams it'll just make the problems even worse.
Here all I'm going to say is distance makes the heart grow fonder. Maybe that little 1 month break, they're going to come back and they're going to be like, guys, I missed you. And imagine Veno and Flexi are gonna be like, this Shark guy, he wasn't it. He wasn't you. And then you've got Vico back in the trio, and they're primed up. They win another FNCS. Then that pushes them through into globals. So maybe they fall off at globals because then they've not got the honeymoon phase timed right, of course. Which as we know is very important. I think We'll go
No,
for
you go. So I thought you were just going to make your joke point.
Yeah.
It's not about if you have the cook. give me the cook.
No, there's no cook. I was just mainly just going to say, I think I do agree with Harry. I think there's not much of a negative in taking a little bit of a break for most people because they'll come back. You know, everyone's trying to take the season for a bit of fun as it is. As long as you're taking your split up just as, hey, I just want to play with some other people, bit of fun, test out other players, especially if I'm friends with them already. You know, we'll enjoy our time, mentally take a break, foot off the gas, come back next season, go hard. Like, I think that's mentally very healthy because most people don't really do that at any point throughout the year. So taking a month to do that and actually, you know, relaxing for a bit should hopefully set them up really well for the next 2 seasons to going into globals to not really be that burnt out. But I don't know that it was the reality of that actually what's going to happen or not.
Yeah, my stance on it right now is quite boring in that like it depends on who and the circumstance. I
Yeah.
definitely think there are more examples though of it potentially being a negative than positive. Like there's so many different things that you can look at and go like, so now what happens if, you know, things don't go quite right? What happens if the vibe's actually better with somebody else and now you have to come back to this team where the vibe's not as good and you're not winning as much? I think one of the most disappointing parts about it, weirdly, I think I'd like it more if there were actual good tournaments to play.
Yeah.
Because one thing about like last year, and at least speaking to EU, I know in NA it wasn't quite the same last year, but specifically in EU, there wasn't really like a team that was just good all throughout the year. Like teams have their lulls in seasons anyway, right? And so us having an opportunity here in the middle of the year for some of those teams who probably would have just had a lull to actually switch things up maybe and like bring some new fire and some new life would have been fun. Like it actually meant that like from a pure viewing perspective, like it's actually cool. You know, let's use Venom's trio, for example. Like they started the season, the start of the year really high. They qualified for globals. Last season, obviously Grands was super entertaining with them, but like if you're looking at the trajectory, it's kind of just gone down for them, right? Like when you're looking at how the year's gone. And so now, if it was last year and there was not this season and they just stuck with Vico, there's actually probably a good chance that it just keeps going down, or at least it like plateaus. And then what happens, like globals happens, and maybe they're good at globals again or whatever. Whereas like now we inject this new thing where it's actually now new, and now it's like, oh, okay, cool, we got Shark now. There's like more interest there. It's a bit more fun. We're playing around with that. But because like the tournaments are all just a bit like, and like the meta is a bit like, for competitive at least, like, yeah, I feel like it kind of just it makes me feel a bit more like, are there problems in these trios that, you know, they're just sort of like pushing away to the side? It's like you said, you know, you're not working through the issues, you're not fixing anything.
Yeah.
Imagine like having an argument with your girlfriend and you're like, well, I'm just going to get another girlfriend for a month. It's like, and then we're going to go back together, you know? Like, that's an approach that some people take. But it's not a good approach. I think most people would agree.
No.
Depending on who you are.
As I said, distance makes the heart grow fonder, you know? That one month, that might be, she's the one for me, man, you know?
But what happens when you have the 1 month, right? And it's like, or let's not even have the one, because that's not even realistic. Let's go with an actual realistic, real life scenario.
How is this not a realistic scenario?
This is very
realistic. More realistic. A holiday romance, you know? Let's say you are a guy and you have a girlfriend, and then you go on a holiday with the boys, and you find a lovely lady from wherever that country is, you know? Like, you know, Ven and Flixie, you know, they found themselves, you know, their little holiday romance. What if now they go home and it's like, I was having more fun in Romania, you know? Like, you know what happens then? You know, it's like, now you're looking at your girl a bit. Now you're looking at your girl and you're like,
she doing all that?
You know, do you know what I mean? So
she moving that way.
There's ways it can sort of not work. There's ways it can definitely sort of not work and have a negative effect. I think at the end of the day, if it was me as a player, this is another part about it that like I know a lot of the top Fortnite players are more burnt out than they will admit.
100%.
Yeah.
Because for me, the thought of it as a competitor that we're just gonna split for like I want to win globals. Like I want to spend the whole year. I know it's bad, and you know, as Fortnite players, we need to take more breaks or whatever, but like I want to win globals. Like we should be locked in. Like this season might be a bit Mickey in some ways, but there might be something we figure out in this season that helps us come globals time. Why do you want to go play with fuck who, you know? Do you know what I mean? Like for me, I don't think I'd like it if I was a player, you know? So I wonder if there's players who are thinking that way, who are on the receiving end on some of these things. the point you make about Shark, right? We're talking about it from Venom's perspective, them playing with him. If I'm Shark, I want to find the trio.
Yeah.
But he might, I mean, I want to find a trio and use this season to lock in so that come Major 3, I'm ready to qual like that to me. So there's just things about it that are just a bit, yeah, I don't know. I think it will depend. It will work out good for some, worse for others, I reckon.
I think
Agreed.
there's a big interesting question is, can they actually earn? Because that rule that was put in of global teams qualifying, that if they switch up their teams, they can't earn any money.
True.
Was that, and that was like not just for other tournaments. That wasn't just for FNCS either.
Was it not?
I don't know. This
Like,
is
and
an FNCS showdown, so
I was gonna say FNCS
Does
showdown.
FNCS showdown? Because like, yeah, I wonder where it falls under the rules. Like, is FNCS showdown part of the FNCS umbrella of divisional cups and major finals? Like, I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not.
Then you're seeing Vico now has to go back, and I'm sure the vibes after saying it, no, we're not playing with you. The vibes
They're
are
completely
gone.
fucked.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great point. I guess we need clarification on that.
I have to ask Epic about that and see.
Yeah. Well, this season should be fun.
Yep.
This season should be fun. I guess next week we'll be talking about whatever happened at the Pro-Am. Let us know in the comment section down below if you want us to interview anybody, because over the next couple of weeks, if I'm being honest, we're not coming here to talk about what happens in the weekly showdowns. Like, that's not going to happen.
They might be heaters, though. You never know.
I will not know because I won't be watching. And so, yeah, if you want us to interview anyone in particular, let us know. We'll also have some like fun type episodes to come out for you guys. We know you like game shows. Sorry, the game shows haven't been as locked in as they were in previous eps, but we will definitely be bringing back some like game show style eps. So yeah, appreciate you all for listening. This isn't a 4-hour episode, but you were spoiled last week and you'll never be spoiled like that ever again.
Exactly.
Until globals.
But globals won't be 4 hours though. Globals will be like a 3-hour app, you know.
And we may have to stretch it though.
Yeah, it's a 24-hour. We're getting a live stream going 24 hours.
Should we just stream it? Yeah. Should we just stream out the globals app and we just do like a 7-hour stream of just talking about globals?
It'll be what every other 24-hour stream is, where it'll be like 8 hours of something, 8 hours of bullshit, 8 hours of sleeping. That's for the real 24-hour.
Yeah, we all hop in our beds. And
yeah. We all got them. Yeah. Bring the mic up here if I can get Pikachu chatting. You know,
we should do like a Hotline FM segment so people can finally get Hotline FM back. Since for some reason, even though it's been 8 months, there's still people who go, "When's it coming back?" Get the hint, buddy.
Well, that's what the second 8 hours is, because you get someone else to take over the stream, and there's someone else to take over the stream in that 8 hours. And this moment is the viewers with their takes.
It's a cook.
I like that.
It's a cook. All right. Well, see you guys all next week. Bye.